Hello. Well, I'm going to be reading one of my favorite parts from my book titled Of Kings and Nobilities, written under the guise of a pseudonym, B.J. Hughes, Hughes being the first name of my college at Cambridge, Hughes Hall. Now, I can't right away dive into the poem, just straight away dive into the poem without giving you some sort of a background as to what it is. Of Kings and Nobilities is a dialogue, it's an epic poem, a dialogue between what seems like a god, some sort of a metaphysical creature, omnipotent, all-knowing, all-powerful, but very relatable, very human-like, somebody who enjoys conversation. And the bard, there are two characters in the book. The bard dies and he goes to heaven, and together God and the bard, they talk about various subjects. Anything, history, literature, religion, politics, current affairs. So it's very satirical in nature. So this section that I'm going to be reading is one of my favorite parts from this book. So here it goes. God. Look around you, bard, at this pastoral wonder. The shaded coppice and the milky streams under. Sometimes heard in a certain wood, Rumi capers to his verse as gently as he could. Just look at the savannas with a perfect foliage in the back. None of the Scottish hues they seem to lack. The grass is wet, tenderly shaved, and smells fresh, as though it's been rained in the wilds of Bangladesh. The springs froth with row after row of otters, pillowing above the coloured reef in shallow waters. The manatees make for exquisite scenes, creeping along the riverbed as submarines, and the sweet smiles of the foliage laud to tell you they have a generous God. Please drown your feet in my silver brook and give those cheerful linnets a beaming look. Watching them play and curl about those bubbles should aid you in forgetting your earthly troubles. You may take a stroll and gather some strawberries. Taste the albatross fruit, the golden honey, the cornel cherries, or ride the elephants, neigh with lions, sing with the lark, or caress the cattle once stored in Noah's ark. Or inhale with your gaze the ambrosial weeds by the slopes where shoals of bison nibble the grass alongside antelopes, and gold, the gold of this endless isle, has more glory than the one wrapped in Nile. Besides, here you'd pick no speck of pollution your earth groans under, thanks to the Chinese Revolution. You may take some time off if you're bored with me. We'd set up your conference with Avicenna or Dante. Or do you wish a moment to yourself under the roof of a Cambridge elm, a book in your palms, and a dog to woof? Or gaze at the other with much hope, without plying Galileo's telescope? Or you may take to the cover of sweet boudoir to pick a lover. Their dusky eyes, soft figures, sweet smells, and a tender glee should turn your mind to thoughts of intimacy. There's something about this place, so authentic and pure. For a man of your line, it's a bait, a lure. And should you discover your solitudes a total dross, please traverse the distant mains on an albatross. His plumage in size is so great, it may carry a dozen men of your weight. There, in the deeps, you'd find creatures presently in extinction on earth, hunted by men for some quaint distinction. And have no worries, they bear no earthly prey drive. These celestial predators don't eat to thrive. But if you're not for seas and oceans, we may find you other hobbies, other devotions. Here unrequited loves, as that of Dante's, find their Beatrice, or at least a plot for a novel like Cervantes. Though I was taken by the adventures of Don Quixote, Nabokov thought it bizarre and mordantly grotty. Just last week in a yon glen where blooms the lotus, the Greeks gathered to discuss tales by Herodotus. There in a nook I beheld Cleopatra and Antony snogging. But as you have no eye for prurient matters, why indulge in pettifogging? There, oft times the Normans meet under shades exotica, to wonder how Aristotle knew of a land called Antarctica. And my favourite waters, a lake girt by the weeping willows, kissed by gentle zephyrs and violent billows, where sits the great Russian Tolstoy, making a string of his whiskers as a little boy. His air souriant, his inward eye, his tone, sets Anna Karenina in a league of its own. Visit him, it isn't as cold there as it were in Moscow, so next time you're close by the lake, please do go. He still tries his hand at wordy novels, short stories, even a little verse for greater glories. Would you believe he thought low of Shakespeare and Wilde? Said they were good writers, though in wit exceedingly mild. And if you hadn't read, he said, Dostoevsky and Dickens. And Homer too, you'd only be augmenting your sins. All great minds are intellectually well bred, though I don't agree with all that rolls in their head. In close view Sa'di's heard murmuring his songs, correcting his metre and diphthongs. With him sits Firdausi, pleased with his Shahnama, those 60,000 couplets of high, exquisite drama. Here, the niggers are a pampered race with no fears, propitiously admitted as heaven's pensioners. One more thing, should you feel all lumpish and bereft of ease, wear your knapsack and visit the Chinese. Their fair-armed matrons will press your feet to free your limbs from all the pangs that beat. This is no place for common coscoms, my friend. Not for cheromancers who false futures portend, not for the fops, not for the fools, not for the knaves who on earth rules. And this brings me to him who had Europe in a trance, the Corsica-born Napoleon I of France. The likes of him are born very rarely. Was he the Nadir Shah of Europe? Clearly. The French loved him, the Brits thought him a fraud, though an Englishman sang his praises. Byron, the Lord. Give me something on him, I'd love to hear you, something very different, something very new. You must do just a few more, but who would they be, I don't know. I promise we'd send you soon after to an isle full of foul fish and laughter, where till eternity you'd commit to writing or reading books, or swim through the coloured reef or marvel at a virgin's looks.